You're in charge of hell.
Well, I make the final decisions, yes. But in a larger sense, we, mankind, are in charge. Have been for centuries.
No way. Really?
Welcome back to another installment of Halloween month, as I kick this month off with a look at my top 10 favorite episodes of the 1980s Twilight Zone series. As I have talked about in previous videos, the Twilight Zone originally premiered in 1959 and ran for 5 seasons, 4 of which were grandiose, while season 4 left a lot to be desired thanks to the show being forced into an hour-long time slot. Nevertheless, the show became a classic despite nearly being cancelled numerous times, and then CBS decided to resurrect it in the 1980s. No idea why they exactly did this, they just did. The quality was all over the place to say the least, with there only being a handful of good episodes, a heap of bad episodes, while most episodes were average at best. There was nothing harmful, yet, at the same time, the only thing spectacular was at how bad some of the remakes were of episodes from the original series, along with some really piss-poor adaptations of incredible stories, as seen here with Richard Matheson's Button Button.
We won't push it.
Oh, come on. Thousands of people die every day all over the world, Arthur.
Well, whatever. It's time to kick this list off with number 10. Dealer's Choice. A young Morgan Freeman co-stars in this tale about a group of friends having a poker night that is interrupted by the devil as he has come to collect one of their souls.
And all that jazz about being Norman's cousin, that was just a scam?
Well, I guess I should have said something sooner. I knew you were going to make a fuss, though. And I didn't want to spoil a good card game.
You may recognize the devil as Dan Hedaya by his eyebrows as being the dude from Alien Resurrection, among other things. Anyway, the night goes from being a fun little get-together to being a fight for one's life. It's a simplistic tale and yet very entertaining to watch. Number 9. Paladin of the Lost Hour. Paladin of the Lost Hour features Billy, a Vietnam vet, saving an old man from being robbed while visiting his wife's grave. The two quickly become friends and the old man, Gasper, reveals that he has only a short time to live.
I think I'd like to be your roommate for a time. Won't be long, though. My doctor tells me I'm not long for this world.
Both recount their lives to each other, but Gasper also comes to learn how messed up Billy is from his time in Vietnam, as his life was saved by a fellow American soldier he did not even know.
And they just open him up like a bag full of blood. And there's blood everywhere. All over me, all over the bushes, and there's pieces of him.
It is also revealed that Gasper holds a magical watch that must remain set to 11 o'clock, as the world will be engulfed in eternal darkness were it to ever reach 12. It's as much touching as it is intriguing. Number 8. Can I just get a little peace and quiet? A mother of 4 finds herself constantly stressed out as her kids and husband seem quite incapable of doing anything without her. Not to mention the children are always arguing for attention. Luckily for Penny, she finds a necklace that allows her to freeze time whenever she screams the words, "Shut up!" This ends up becoming a blessing for her, especially when something massive happens in the end that could save the entire city depending on what she decides to do. It's an interesting tale that harkens back to the original series, a kind of stopwatch, but with some new twists and turns to keep your mind away from thinking about stopwatch.
People like you don't start caring. There may not be a world left to care.
Start talking.
People like yourself have to become involved.
Number 7. The Curious Case of Edgar Witherspoon. Edgar Witherspoon is an eccentric old man who seems to be quite ecliptic to the point where his niece and landlord hire a psychologist to examine the man with the hopes of having him taken away for mental treatment.
Thanks anyway, Mr. Pilchick, but I already found a brass thimble. You're not Mr. Pilchick.
I'm Dr. Jeremy Sinclair. May I talk to you, Mr.
Some other
Witherspoon?
time, perhaps. I have to look for a doll's head.
This psychologist pays Edgar a visit, who has a strange contraption set up in his apartment that he claims is keeping the world alive. Initially, the psychologist believes Edgar to be insane, only to learn that that may not be the case after all.
You don't understand the risk you're taking. I knew it. There goes Tatoa.
Hello, I want to check on a news story. I just heard something on the radio about a tidal wave destroying an island. Tatoa was destroyed.
It's a creative episode that keeps you guessing as to whether or not Edgar is crazy while also feeling like something Rod Serling would have come up with in the original series. Number 6. Eye of Newton. Eye of Newton is a simplistic short tale running 8 minutes long about a teacher who accidentally offers his soul to find the proper equation for a formula he is working on.
Ooh, I'd sell my soul for a donut.
Damn it! I'd sell my soul to get this thing right!
2 words, babe. Eternal damnation.
Doing so summons a devil with an ever-changing t-shirt who comes to collect on his payment, but offers him a way out if the man is able to order him to perform a task he is unable to accomplish.
Is there any place in the universe, in all of being, where you could go and not be able to find your way back here? I hate to lay these negative vibes on you, Sam, but no.
As I said, it's short and simple, and yet engagingly fun and original. Definitely one of the more unique tales to be found in the series. Number 5. Nightcrawlers, and not the X-Men kind or the Jake Gyllenhaal kind. In this one, a cop becomes suspicious of a man who barges into a local diner after recklessly driving in a severe storm. The man reveals to everyone inside that he fought in Vietnam and his entire squad was killed while he fled the battle in terror. After the officer has antagonized the man enough, he reveals that he is able to summon anything he dreams up in his mind, which ends up being his entire squad after he's rendered unconscious by the cop. It's a chilling tale that feels like something you would see in an episode of Tales from the Crypt, more so than the Twilight Zone series, but nevertheless it keeps you on the edge of your seat in anticipation for what is going to happen next. The music is also incredible in this one and shows when the writers of this show cared, they could write something truly fantastic.
I didn't just desert these guys. I buried them. I could hear them choke as my foot stepped on their faces.
Number 4. The Misfortune Cookie. Similarly to Nightcrawlers, the Misfortune Cookie would make an outstanding Tales from the Crypt story. It is about a food critic who writes scathing reviews about various restaurants before he even eats at the place and relishes in knowing he can destroy their business with his meaty words.
If you love your Pekingese, don't ask for a doggy bag? Is Mr. Lee's really that bad?
I wouldn't know. I've never had the displeasure of dining there.
What?
Don't worry, I'll stop by later.
What an asshole!
This time around, the critic sets his teeth on a lowly Chinese restaurant but ends up with a fortune cookie that told an accurate fortune.
I'm going to give you the $1,000 these clowns were supposed to have.
What?
Hey, wait a minute. Oh, shut up. These guys were due for a bonus of $1,000. I want to give it to you. Come on back to my office. I want to give you your reward.
He returns to the place for another cookie, gets pissed off when he doesn't understand the fortune, only to do so later on, and tries to play a game of cat and mouse with the owner, and we see the man get what he deserves. It's just a superb tale that shows how much karma can bite you in the ass if you toy with other people's happiness just because you can. Number 3. To See the Invisible Man. Hey, wait, how does that work? How can you see an invisible man? At some point in some time, it became illegal for someone to not show their emotions in front of others, and in doing so means a punishment of being invisible for 1 year's time, as Mitchell Chapman has discovered. What this sentence means is that a marker is placed upon someone's forehead that cannot be hidden away by any means, and everyone is required to ignore that individual or they themselves will face punishment. Mitchell believes this punishment is no big deal, forcing his way into restaurants and women's spas. Only to realize he is creeping people out and that he does indeed need social interaction. The worst part is, the one deemed invisible cannot even receive medical attention, as Mitchell learns after being run over by a pair of car thieves.
But the only way I can access your file is through face print identification.
Man, this is some bullshit!
Watching Mitchell go through his trials and tribulations is interesting, and the episode will most likely have you pondering what you would do in his situation. Number 2. The only remake to not actually suck, Night of the Meek. Not only is Night of the Meek a remake to the original Twilight Zone episode, but it also manages to surpass it in some aspects. A down-on-his-luck man named Henry Corbin is playing the role of Santa for an ungrateful, selfish store manager and gets fired. Later that night, Henry goes to take out the trash and finds that his trash bag has suddenly become a bag of magic that is able to turn thin air into anything a person desires. Thus, Henry sets up a room and gives everyone in the neighborhood the one item they desire the most.
What I'd really like is a new pair of glasses. Ones that make me look better than these make me look.
Try these.
Naturally, the store manager, who is played by Ghostbusters William Atherton, believes Henry stole all of the items from his store, only to learn that is not actually the case. It retains the heart of the original while also adding to it without it ever feeling like it is trying to be a shot-for-shot remake, and does all of it effectively.
This night was my gift, and I couldn't have received anything more perfect. Unless it would be to live this magic every year.
Before we get into number one, let's take a look at some honorable mentions.
This is next Christmas Day, 5:06 a.m. About 8 months from now. As you can see, we're just beginning work.
It looked back at me. Right at me. I caught it off guard, I guess, because I got the most terrible, horrible feeling that it knew that I saw it.
All of you. You're
the ones you left behind. All the souls that ever were.
Did you say dinosaur?
Mm-hmm. He wouldn't touch it, and it's his favorite, tuna fish.
Why are you saying dinosaur?
What do you expect me to say?
Number one. And finally, the greatest 80s Twilight Zone episode of them all, Her Pilgrim's Soul. The longest and easily the best episode of the series because it is the one that feels the most fleshed out. A pair of scientists are shocked to discover a girl has emerged in a holographic projector they are working on. The girl appears to be extremely lifelike and ages about 10 months every hour, which entices one of the scientists with a struggling marriage to grow obsessed with this virtual woman in order to learn all he can from her, due to her only having a few days to live.
When I programmed that ball, it behaved. She behaved like any normal kid her age.
In the meantime, the other scientist takes the information she has given them to track down her family history, as it is revealed she is someone who actually existed. To say any more would spoil the surprises that this episode provides, and unlike every other episode on this list, this is the one that should be watched by any science fiction fan, whether you like the Twilight Zone or not. It also helps that there is a reason to the man's infatuation with this unknown assailant, as opposed to it just being about a lonely guy creepily falling in love with an AI.
You know, Kevin, in an odd sort of way, when I sit here remembering, it's almost as though it's all happening for the first time.
And that brings an end to my top 10 favorite episodes of the 80s Twilight Zone series. What are your favorite episodes? Have you watched the 80s Twilight Zone show? Were you like, I'm good with the original one, I don't need anything else, which I don't blame you for. They're not very good, although the 80s series seems like a masterpiece in comparison to the 2002 and the current series. Whatever the case, comment below, click like, click subscribe, click the bell notification, click whatever else YouTube has you clicking in to support me. You can support me on Patreon at Kaiju no Kami, Facebook at Kaiju no Kami, Instagram at Kaiju no Kami, Twitter at Kaiju no Kami, and my website creativitybydesignllc.com. Until the next episode of Halloween month, bye.
I'm smarter than you.
You are not smarter than me.